Hello everybody, Eugene back with another music review today, and today we'll be doing our first full-length album review. Um, Last time we reviewed Yellow Card's EP, Childhood Eyes, so I don't really count that as a full-length album, but today's album we'll be doing the 2014 The Hoteliers album, Home Like No Place Is There. If nobody is familiar with the Hotelier, they're a Massachusetts-based band. They are an emo band. People on Google they're considered an indie rock band, but that's not farther from the truth. Um, they are an emo band, and Home Like No Places There is probably their most commercially successful album. Actually, if you just go onto their Spotify or anything, you look them up, that is going to be the album, and most of the songs you see are there. You see on whatever you search them up, that album and the songs on that album are going to be the most frequently shown songs when you search them up. They do have two other albums, and their first debut album, It Never Goes Out, and their last and third album was Goodness, which I can't show the picture of because, well, I can, but it's blurred out, and well, that's because if I did show it without it being blurred out, probably could not ever show this video. um, so those other two albums, yes, were pretty good, but they never really got to the success like their sophomore album, Home Like No Place Is There. A little background on Home Like No Place Is There. Again, it came out in 2014 and is widely considered an essential emo album if you're into the emo genre. People consider this one of the greats. I think this is one of the albums I continuously go back to. When I listen to an album and I want to know if it's good or not, really want to really just want to know how well I can sit there and keep returning to it. There's a lot of albums I own that I don't listen to frequently, and that doesn't mean I don't like the albums, but there's what really gets me to enjoy an album the most is my ability to whether or not if I return to it frequently or not. You know what I mean? This album definitely is that. Basically, after listening to it more and more, when I was thinking about doing this review, I had to really listen to it again. I've been listening to it quite often to really try and get a grip on how I took it the first time around, the meaning behind the album, this and that. And the more and more I listened to it, and even coming back to it, it was kind of nostalgic because I remember how good of an album it was when I first listened to it, which I was kind of happy that I was able to relive that, So, the album itself basically is about this person feeling like they are the reason why they are losing their relationships or their friends or other things in their life, and they are the reason why they're going through a downward spiral of just events. And a lot of the songs are very in-depthly into that. The whole album is just a roller coaster of emotions and just amazing songs that really showcase the theme and the emotions that they try to bring out. One thing I really did like about this album a lot was the bass playing. I feel like out of a lot of songs and just rock albums and rock songs in general, the bass seems to get tuned out, especially in some emo bands or pop rock bands. It just doesn't really stand out. but I felt like in this album it stood out a lot. And instrumentally, every single instrument stood out a lot. The guitars, it didn't feel like just a basic emo album, and the songs didn't feel like just a basic copy and paste emo song either. They all had a different identity, and they all felt different, which I really, that's probably the biggest reason why I continuously still come back to this album to this day, and that's because of how it just didn't do the same copy and paste like other albums or songs in that genre do. So even the singer's voice for the Hotelier, he did a really good job having a lot of passion in his voice. He had a lot of passion throughout this album. I think, even listening to It Never Goes Out and Goodness, I don't think those, like, he has passion in those songs, in those albums, but I don't think it comes nearly as close as he does in this album. Like, this album, he has amazing screaming and yelling. He has just amazing singing in general. And he just shows a lot of passion in the words that he says. It sounds like he actually means the things that he's saying in these songs. He's showing true meaning to them. And what I really like a lot is how can I put it? Their way they put the songs out in the song, like the order. I felt like they did a really good job at just not putting any song in any order. Like, that might be just like a little niche thing to say, but like, it matters when you're having albums that tell stories. Like, for example, Waz of American Idiot just put all their songs in just a different order than what it was now. I, honest to God, feel like it would make less sense and probably wouldn't be like it would still be good, but it would, like, again, wouldn't make sense into an album that tells a story like this one. Like, this album tells a story from, like, start to finish of how this person ruins their friendships and relationships, and how basically at the end he has nothing at that point. And just to speak onto the songs, like I said, again, they just seem different than most emo songs. Like, off this album, most people would know the song Your Deep Rest, and I understand why. It's one of their most known songs. It's one of their most played. It's their number one on Spotify, and that's because Your Deep Rest this has such a good meaning. Just lyrics like your side of your family made me feel responsible, which he's talking about the death of a friend that he feels like he's taking responsibility for that, even though it might not have been his fault. He still feels responsible because he pushed them away. Like things like that. One of the most underrated songs on the album that I just want to say right now is Among the Wildflowers. If you've never heard this song, you want to talk about a very interesting and very different emo song in general. That song, honest to God, has the best guitar riff, the best switch ups I've ever seen in rock songs. Like, it's just really, really good. Instrumentally, lyrically, and just I just love how towards the end it's just this ball of energy that just explodes, and then it's just right afterwards it just goes right transitioning into another ball of energy song, which is Life is a Drag. And they also did a really good job with that. You'll realize that every single song feels like it transitions very nicely into the next, which I do like a lot, and it just makes it feel smoother, and just really takes that storytelling to another level. Like, little things like that, like the order of songs and transitions really do matter in these albums that tell stories and stuff like that. Other notable songs in this album that really do stand out. Um, Housebroken, that is another great song lyrically, instrumentally. Housebroken is basically kind of, the way they describe it is kind of in a pet's eyes of things. Like a lot of the lyrics kind of describe like a pet. It's kind of weird, but that's like one of the songs that like I still to this day have trouble figuring out like what specifically it's about, but it was still a great song regardless of the fact. Um, and the final song on the album, Hedron, pretty sure I'm saying that correctly, but knowing me, I probably am not. Um, really is a great closing song to an album. Honestly, has a lot of what made the album so good. It's really a combination of everything. The switch ups, great guitar riffs, great singing, the passion behind the singer's voice. Like everything about that ending song was really good. And I really like it lyrically because it really just, again, is very straightforward with the theme of the album. Just the song really just is about how he like this person ruined their friendships, and always seems to be the reason why someone leaves, and just he's finally coming to the realization of that. He finally feels the emotions of being the reason why he's the one losing his friends. Like, even thinking that maybe it isn't him and it's them. Like, it's just amazing songwriting. Like, the whole album had amazing songwriting. And it just really goes to show that some of these 2010 records and albums and EPs just were not bad at all. Like, a lot of people shit on some of these newer bands, and just bands that really came out in the 2000s, really started to pop out in the 2010s, not 2010s. But like the Hotelier definitely proved people wrong, especially when a lot of people think Home Like No Place Is There is definitely like one of the best emo albums of all time, and it is an essential 2010s emo album. If I had to rate the album, non-biasedly, of course, I would have to give it a 10 out of 10. Like I said, I only really give 10 out of 10s to albums I can continuously come back to. And, I really don't think there's any issues with this album. Like, even though there's, like, the first two songs in the album, an introduction to the album, and the scope of this rebuilding, are they some of my favorites of all time? No. But I feel like, specifically in that album, they really do come together, and they fit nicely into it. It's not like they're just there to be there. They make a difference. Like I said, I would give this album a 10 out of 10. I really don't think there's any issues with it at all. And it's definitely one of the core emo albums to listen to if you're really getting into emo and really wanting to see what other projects there are. This album's definitely one of the ones you should check out. But yeah, tell me what you guys think of the album below in the comment section. And tell me what you would rate it, and let me know what I should react to song wise, or review next album wise, or just anything music related. What you guys want me to do, and I'll see if I want to do it or not. So yeah, I will catch you guys later, and I will see y'all when I do the next review. Thank you.